This is a hunk of plastic with a lot of wires coming out. This is the clock from the 2000 Camry. This almost didn't happen twice. When I had the opportunity to go to the car and get personal belongings, I brought some tools with me, and I pulled the radio out. I don't want the radio. It's not anything. It's just something that can be sold and make a couple dollars on, because why not? The car could have a radio delete, it could have a clock delete. But what happened was, when I was there, I had completely forgotten about the fact that I wanted to pull the instrument cluster, again, just something that can be sold, and the clock. Forgot all about it. I pulled the radio and I forgot the rest. But I did finally get to go back and get the license plates off of it. And then I went to get the clock. And the clock was a pain in the ass to remove from the dash, and then we had the wires. Now there's a white connector there. That's all fine and good. And I could have unplugged that, which I did. And then I would have been left with pins. So I said, no, I want the connector with the wires. And then I realized that I didn't bring a set of wire cutters. I somehow MacGyvered a solution in finding that a pair of needle nose pliers that I brought, that I wasn't planning on bringing, happened to have a very dull wire cutter. And I was able to cut all of the wires. They are different lengths, and some have other nicks in them, and all kinds of great stuff, but I was able to save the clock. This has been sort of a thing that I've done. I'm not sure where the one out of Old Clanky is. Sure, it's around. I just haven't come across it. I have the clock out of an old Honda Accord from years ago. That wasn't even mine, that car, but it still works, the clock. And anyway, this one I saved because the Whiff's first car was an 85 Dodge Lancer, and I had saved the clock out of that car. And in fact, I had a video of that many years ago. Link in the prescription. It's called the Dodge clock because it was out of the Dodge, and I saved that. And my old Chevy didn't actually have a clock. There was an analog one that could be on the dashboard, but that was not even optioned out on that car. I had a little LED clock, red LED clock, that I got at an auto parts store years ago, and the buttons didn't work on it nicely, and it was a pain in the ass, and the display had faded, and it's around somewhere. It kind of works if you can get it to set the time, and I never took the time to try to figure out why the buttons didn't work nicely on it. But anyway, here we are with the clock out of the 2000 Camry, and there's a lot of wires. Now, the clock that I put in to my old Chevy had 3 wires, a black, a red, and a yellow. And the black was your negative, the red was your positive, and the yellow was your display enable wire. And that would simply be connected to a switched power source. So you could tie that in with the radio, for example, which actually is the circuit I chose on that car. And when I turn the key to accessory or to the on position where it would be on, then the clock would display. And just like a real car, when you turn the key to start the engine, it kills that accessory circuit, because cars do that, I don't know. And the clock would blank out and it would come back, and because the display enable wire would lose power and get wire back. And there's a whole bunch of wires on here. And I know that this had a temperature thing because there's a mode button, and the mode would change between time, Celsius, or Fahrenheit temperature. It could not display the temperature along with it. In contrast, Old Clanky's clock and hence Ginger's clock also, has both displayed, but piecemeal. In other words, accessory position, the clock comes on. In the on or run position, the temperature shows up. If you shut it from that back to accessory, the clock just stays on. And when you turn the key to start the engine, both of them blank out and then come back. Interesting. Anyway, there's a lot of wires on here, and I said, I don't know. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wires. 2 of them would go to a temperature sensor, some sort of thermistor. Then we're going to have 3 more, which is going to be your positive, negative, display enable. What are the other 3? And I'm like, I don't want to blow this thing up. That's no good. So I did what any self-respecting fan twerp would do. Oh wait, there are none. I did what any self-respecting person would do, and I went online and I found a wiring diagram. And this is interesting because it shows different color wires here. Let me see if you can see this here. So you got a red with blue, white with black, pink with blue, green, violet with white, yellow, white, and red. And if I put my spectacles on so I can see what the hell I'm doing, we have a red, we have a red with blue, we have that's a white red, there's a white black, I see that's here, pink blue is this one, a green, a violet white, which is this, a yellow, and a white with red, which is that. Look at that. 8 wires, and I know which ones they are. And it tells me. So the red, if we look on here one more time, is your B+. That means always has 12 volts. White with black is the only wire that runs down over here and goes to a chassis ground. So that's your negative. Then the second wire, red with blue, runs up here to hot in on or start. Okay, but then there's another one, hot in accessory or on. And then hot with tail relay energized. So I think what they have here is hot in on or start would be, I'm not sure why it would be hot when it's on or start, because usually it would blank out if I'm not mistaken. Hot in accessory or on makes sense. Hot with tail relay energized, I would take that to mean that when you would put the headlights on, or it would automatically turn on in that car, it would dim all of the instrument cluster gauges, the illumination for that. It just goes kind of like into a night mode. Or what I should say on that car is it would turn the lights on for that and you had a dimmer control. But other things in the car that were lit would dim. And the clock is one of them. So I think that's what that one is for. And that pretty much breaks down all of these wires. So what I'm going to do is strip all of these wires, and we're going to get a 12-volt battery and a lot of alligator clip wires, and we're going to see if we can make this clock do anything. I'm not worried about the temperature display because I don't know what sensor they use for that or where I could get one inexpensively. Maybe a junkyard, I don't know. But again, being that you kind of have to like press the button to see that, can we dick around with it and short the two together? Because the last 2 wires are, well, the violet white is the instrument cluster circuit, not sure on that one, and then the yellow and white red, ambient temperature sensor, front of center engine compartment. Well, that was destroyed, so there's none of that. But hopefully I can get the clock to live on. So that was the lecture before, what I'm going to do is get a wire stripper, strip a whole bunch of wires, get a battery, alligator clip wires, and we'll see if we can make this work or if we blow it up. Okay, so far I have the black hooked up to the white and black, which is ground, which it says on there, and this red wire hooked up to the red wire, which is the B+, not to be confused with the blue with red, which is the next one. But I want to just see what happens when we power it like this. I already know that my battery pack has power. I expect nothing will happen. Nothing happens. Good. That's exactly what I expected. Now, what I'm going to do is take another red wire, and we're going to jump. I'm going to skip the order of the pins a little bit and go to the pink blue, which is allegedly the accessory wire. And let me just trace that. Hot and accessory or on. So the pink blue is this one. So we now have another positive wire on the pink blue, and that theoretically should be our positive, negative, and display enable. Here we go. Oh, dick. So let's see if we could set that. It's for, it doesn't distinguish between, you know, AM or PM. So 422, that's good. And that was the pink blue. So if I take that wire off, essentially we just switch the key off, back on, and the time stays. Good. That all works. What happens for shits if we hit the mode button? I'm thinking nothing, because that on or start, yes, nothing. So let's shut it off. That lost the time, by the way. Right, which is okay. I don't need it to save the time right now. And now we're going to hook up to hot and on or start. Red, blue. Was that the one I just did? No, that was the pink blue. So the red blue is now going to get, whoa, red blue, here you are. Get on there. Is going to get some positive juice as well. So, just, can I get a connection somewhere here? It would be nice. No? Okay, there. That'll work. Now, yeah, mode. Hopefully it'll just give an error. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so we figured that out. Good, that works. Now, let's try another hot wire to the green, which is hot with with tail relay energized, and see if the display will dim. And hopefully we won't short anything out or blow anything up. Oh, wires are getting dangerously close to one another. Let me hit mode, back to the time. Yep. Does it dim? Oh, it dims. See that? We got it. Awesome. Okay, let's disconnect that because I'm probably not going to dim it. And let me just shut power. And the last thing is the yellow and white red. We're going to short together to see. So that was yellow and white red. And we're going to see if we get any display. Probably not. So let's power it back up. Go mode. White red. No reading. So it needs some sort of resistor or thermistor or something of some kind. But it is there. And indeed... Oh, missed it by 5 minutes. Damn it. We have resurrected the clock from the 2000 Camry. And it will live on. That is going to be another video. wiring that all up. I'm actually going to put it with the Dodge clock, and this way we'll have sort of an amalgamation of all of them. There. So anyway, we got the clock to work. I did read something about how these clocks fail. I think there's resistors inside soldered to the board that either they fail or the solder joints to them fail. I don't know, but that hasn't happened with this clock. It's, as far as I can tell, I believe, yeah, if you get it quick enough, it might be vacuum fluorescent, but it might be LED. I just don't know. I want to say vacuum fluorescent, but I can't say that for sure. Because it definitely could be LED. That's a possibility. So, it is what it is. But the clock can live on just as a memento from that, much as the Dodge clock is still living, and that was an 85, so that's 15 plus 22, so 37 years that clock has been living. And in the next part of this video, when I wire that up, whenever that will be, you get to see the Dodge clock. So again, there's going to be a link at the prescription, so you can take a look at that, and then I'll show you how I'm going to wire this up to that. And maybe I'll shoot an email over to Rolling TARDIS and see if he can suggest anything as far as the temperature display goes, just for ideas. I don't really have any spare resistors or anything like that laying around anymore, at least where I can get to them easily. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's looking for a voltage differential between them or what, but anyway, the clock does still work. I mean, it worked at the time. The accident didn't kill it, and the resistor problem didn't kill it. And let's kill the lights, just to do it, so you can see what it looks like that. Yep, still plenty readable. Cool. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you very kindly for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.